purpose, fulfillment, income, skills improvement, salary promotion. 30 more seconds. Experience, progress, professional development. Fifteen more seconds. New opportunity, I like that. Okay, thank you everyone who has participated. So you all know what we're talking about today involves career progression, and we're going to see if all these words that we have talked about and if they're involved, how they're involved in career progression or career advancement. And I welcome you all to remain attentive throughout the session, and let's see what we discover about career advancement. Thank you. I'll stop there, Dr. Favor.
All right, thank you, Sandra. All right, so just an overview of Your Pharmacist Diary. This is an organization that was founded in 2020 with two main aims, one being improving the visibility and recognition of pharmacy practice globally, and to create a networking platform for the exchange of ideas and innovation. Our vision is to globally empower pharmacists to identify niche areas and to excel in their areas of specialization, mostly through capacity building. And at this point, I'd like to acknowledge that I know there could be non-pharmacists on the call. And despite our vision being involving largely pharmacists, we are delighted to mention that our professional development programs are open to all cadres because they mostly involve the soft skills. Our mission is to empower pharmacists and pharmacy students globally through fostering a dynamic networking platform for the healthcare professionals with the main aim of advancing health education and driving positive change in the pharmacy circles. How have we as an organization achieved that? It's mainly through two ways. The first is through professional development by featuring pharmacists in our Pharmacist of the Week and pharma specialization features. We've managed to highlight the niche areas and create exposure around the same. And secondly, we are working towards bolstering capacity building through our upcoming series of masterclasses, which we shall expound more as the presentation goes on. And secondly, we've also achieved our overarching aim through creating global networking platforms for health education, knowledge, and policy shaping. So at this juncture, I'm delighted to introduce the presenter for tonight, who also happens to be our main facilitator for the upcoming masterclasses, and that's none other than Dr. Godfrey Mayoka, who is an award-winning drug researcher. He holds a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from the University of Nairobi, an MSc in drug discovery from the University College London in the United Kingdom, and he also has a PhD in drug discovery from the University of Cape Town in South Africa. He has over a decade in drug research, and he's sought after for his insights in fellowships and grant applications, research proposals, report writing, all the way to resume, cover letter, and CV writing. And his main expertise lies in incorporating captivating narratives into scientific write-ups. So without much ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Mayoka to take over the next phase of the presentation. But just before he does that, I'd also invite Dr. Sandra. As she prepares to share her slide, I'd like to encourage us all to submit our questions in the Q&A section, and they shall be attended to towards the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. Sandra,
Thank you.
over to you.
Mhm.
Sorry. Yeah,
Thank
over to you,
you.
Sandra.
So I'm here with yet another activity for you. I want you to stay engaged throughout this meeting. So I'm going to share my screen again, this time with another question. Again, go to Mentimeter. Go to Mentimeter. Our code is 2873320. 28273320. As soon as you're in, please give an answer. Just give one answer to this question. You're writing a CV for a scientist who has made a groundbreaking discovery. In one sentence, describe this discovery and its impact. So let your creative juices flow. Okay, I see someone has put the code there. It's 28273320. Okay, no, I'll type the code in the chat. The code is 28273320. So a few minutes, give us one sentence to describe this discovery and its impact. So I see research for use in resource-limited settings. Groundbreaking research for use in resource-limited settings. I see award-winning. Okay. Give me 2 more responses before we move on. I see a game-changing formulation. Groundbreaking therapy. A life-changing discovery. I see novel. Clinical candidate drug. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think we can stop here for now. I expect if I ask this question again after this session, I will get more responses. So we'll stop here for now and then we continue.
Hi, Dr. Mayoka. You can continue.
Thanks, Favor, and good evening to everyone, and certainly a great privilege and an honor to be able to join all of you attendees, over 70 of us, on what I hold very close to my heart. I seeing that many of the attendees here are friends and colleagues and mentees that I've had the privilege of interacting with previously, and some of them present mentees. It gives me a great honor that we can be able to have a chance to talk about something that you often do not get adequate time to be able to talk about and prepare yourself for during your normal university training, which I think it should change. And I think towards the end of your towards the end of undergraduate program, I think it will be nice to start incorporating some of these aspects that I find to be very important and critical in career advancement. So thanks for sparing your time on an evening like this to be able to have us share on CVs and scientific writing. Uh, for those that we have interacted with, you are aware how this is something close to my heart. And in the next maybe 40 or so minutes or 30 to spare you time for questions and answers, which please feel free to bring them on, and the moderator will be happy to consolidate and be able to guide us through in the final sessions of answering them. So I've already been introduced, and thanks for the introduction, Favor, and for the opportunity from the Young Pharmacist Diary. I'm happy to support such innovative initiatives because I believe that one of the great things in life is if you have walked through a path, if you can help someone to walk that path faster, I think to me that is a great reward that you can be able to get in life. So if we move to the next slide, it's a brief outline that I have envisaged for this introductory presentation, just to give you insights on why it is very crucial, why it is very important for each one of us to appreciate and understand at whatever level we are, if there be final year students, if there be those who are in their early careers, or if there are those who have been in career but they need transition in careers, why a CV is important and what we ought to make up out of a CV. Then I'll split some time and speak about scientific writing. Uh, I'll use it synonymously with academic writing, or professional writing, or formal writing, to be able to highlight some aspects of writing that if you have competence in, it will really add a lot of value to your career growth, and potentially accelerate your growth, as well as magnify the impact that you can be able to have. So in the next slide, I briefly just go over the journey that I have had in the profession for the last maybe 15 or so years, as Favor introduced. Starting with undergraduate at the University of Nairobi, and then before proceeding for my master's in the UK, I got a chance to be engaged in pharmacogenetics research at the African Institute of Biomedical Science and Technology in Zimbabwe. And then after my master's, I got a chance to be able to serve at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology since 2013. And then an opportunity came for me to pursue my doctorate in drug discovery at the University of Cape Town. And glad to see a colleague of mine joining us, whom we have spent some time with in Cape Town. And then since 2023, I've gotten a chance to be able to be involved in antibiotics drug discovery. So that's besides other things that I've had a privilege of doing. And if you click next, so in the course of that journey, there are a few awards that I've been privileged to be able to get, through which I've been able to get some experience of being engaged in writing. So that includes the Commonwealth Scholarship that enabled me to pursue the drug discovery course in the UK, and then various travel grants that will allow me to attend conferences presenting the research work, including from the US National Institute of Health and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and then a postdoctoral fellowship with the African Research Excellence Fund in connection with the European and developing countries clinical trials partnership. So alongside with that, as part of career growth and career exposure, I've had a chance to serve on different journals as a reviewer, and also funding bodies or research foundations, including the Medical Research Council in the UK, and the invitation from the National Research Foundation of South Africa, the Lancet Global Health Journal, and Infectious Disease Journal of the American Chemical Society. So I'm mentioning this to be able to highlight and inspire us, because many of you consider you my mentees, whether direct or indirect. And I would like to see you having confidence in yourself to know that you can be able to make the next leap, the next step in your career, the next path that you may not have been charted by those that perhaps you have been interacted with. But I want to show you and highlight to you the possibilities that are abounding and that are there for you to reach out for. If somebody doesn't tell you these things, you may not know that these things are there. But if you can be able to touch and say, no, I know this has been done and I know I can make it, and then you can be able to be inspired towards that journey, and then you can be able to have some momentum to move into that journey. So we'll then move on to our first part about a CV. Everybody knows something about a CV, but it appears to me that some know about a CV just from the name, curriculum vitae, summary of myself. But I would like us to remember that many people will know about you from something written about you, or something that you wrote about yourself, or something that depicts you, more than you will be able to meet them face to face. If there's something that you should remember and recall from this webinar, is that whatever you are writing, it is a signature, it's a rubber stamp, it's a representation of who you are. You are representing your personality. You are representing your personal brand. When I want to see, I think I'm at liberty to mention some names here because I see some of my friends and colleagues here. If I want to know who is Dr. Joy Imamai, if I Google and I come across her CV, a brief summary of what she has done, how she has presented herself, that leaves an image, an impression to me of who Joy Imamai is. When you go and attend an interview, as you'll expect, the panel will have been given time, will have screened through your application. Amongst other applications, they will have developed and crafted an image, an impression about you, so that when you come and you're sitting in that panel, they have already a baseline reflection about you, and the interview will be a matter of affirming what they know about you, or clarifying what they were not so sure that they gathered from you, or also giving you a chance to vindicate yourself whether what indeed you have put on paper is a true reflection of yourself. As I'll mention a little while later, in this age of digital revolution, there can be a lot of fakeness, fake things. You can cook and paint something that you are not. But you see, you can run, they say, but you cannot hide. An intelligent body will be able to tease that out from you. So remember, the CV is going to go before you in many aspects of your career and professional life. You need to understand what it is. You need to be aware of what you are putting in there, how you are putting it, and what you want it to speak about you. So in the next slide, I'm showing what we do in most cases as a job applicant. You are so curious. You are so eager to tell the world, look, you should know, you should be aware where I went to school. I went to school at the University of Makerere. Look, I was at the University of Ghana. I was in the University of Cape Town. Some of us, we know, we go on and we amplify about where we were in our previous high school and gymnasium A-level studies, because the names have a prestige behind it. But we should stop and think, is that what the employer is looking for? The many certificates that we have, the many years that I have worked, is that adequate to be able to impress an employer? To know that I was the chairman of this club and chairman of this society? Is that adequate? That the employer wants to know that. And also, if you click one more time, you'll find that some of us are keen also to show the employer that, you know, I am adaptable, you know, because it's a buzzword. I can adapt to new challenges and to new environment. But the question is, do we take a step back and reflect? As I'm highlighting and mentioning all these other different things, what is it that indeed the employer is looking for and wants out of me? It's fine, yes, I am shining. In my perspective, I want to show what I have done. I want to reflect what I've done. But take a point back and look. You are writing to seek an opportunity from someone, the employer. When he is having his screening tool, what is he looking at? He's looking at, does this person have the appropriate training? Does this person have the adequate, suitable experience for this kind of job that we are advertising? And we'll come to speak about this. I know it's a common challenge to many entry opportunities or first-time opportunities. We will get to speak about it, and feel free to be able to make inquiries in the Q&A on advice how you can be able to navigate this. The employer is also looking for a candidate that in many cases can be able to fit and handle more than one aspect of job. If, for example, you are there, you can do your professional work, but in addition, you are good in some IT related work. You are good in an additional soft skill. You might find that you stand a better chance rather than someone who is singularly qualified based on academic qualification. The employer is looking at someone who can be able to work well in a team, because as over the years, it has become obvious that you can be very gifted, you can be very bright, but if you cannot be able to work harmoniously in a team, then you might be a poor fit. Because for most parts, and many of my colleagues that I can see, some of my senior colleagues in the profession in attendance will tell you that for most parts, many of the things you can be able to learn over time and be able to acquire the competence and grow in your role. But how about this aspect of the social aspect of things, which I would like to call the grease that allows you to be able to navigate and relate and associate with other team members? Do you demonstrate some leadership potential that the team employing you can be confident that if we have responsibilities coming up, especially for high responsibility jobs, do you demonstrate some aspects of leadership potential? Comparing these expectations with what perhaps you are reflecting on the previous slide on what you want the world to know about you, you can readily see one of the most common failures that we make when it comes to a CV. You find that you focus, you try to look at every other successful thing that you have been able to achieve in the space of life that you are quoting for that particular job. I was the debate club chairperson. I was the leader of this and that. I attended this school, but without any additional supporting concrete description that can align and help you to convince the prospective employer. And as I will repeat when I'll be completing this part of the CV part, when you are writing and reflecting and expressing what you have been able to do or to achieve, whether in academic success or leadership or things that will show leadership potential, do not leave it for the employer to interpret or to translate by themselves that this is what you are trying to mean to them. So, for example, for those joining in from Kenya, If you say, I attended Alliance High School, I attended Starehe, I attended Lugulu Girls, or any other high-performing high school, for example, at some point that becomes immaterial based on what level of job you're applying for. So do not just rest on the glory of the high school that you attended. Don't just rest on the glory of the reputation of the university that you attended. Go further to tease out what is it that your relationship with that institution that helps to make you to be a suitable and an outstanding candidate for that position. And I'll emphasize that in the slide after the next one. So briefly, in the next slide, what I show is the content highlights of a CV, which all of us are aware. So I will not dwell so much on this. You know, we have a contact information section where you have to provide, if you are to be reached, you are to be approached for an opportunity. What is your email address that you are to be reached by? What is your telephone number? If it's an international job, remember to put a country code for that. If, for example, you're not found in one particular phone number for any reason, do you have a backup number for that to be reached? Because some opportunities are so competitive and so rare, and the hiring team is so much faced with pressure that if they can't find you, they might not have the patience of trying to reach you another time. Like I remember in my case, when I got my opportunity at the university, I think they called me on it was very funny. They called me on a Saturday, and it was a strange number. So when I called back, I just discovered, oh, it was the university calling me, and then they were calling me for an interview for a Tuesday. So as much as I felt so bad, how could they try to reach me on a Saturday? And then how do you expect me to be there for the interview 3-4 days after they called me? Supposing I was away on another assignment, does that mean that then you lose out on the opportunity? But at times you find that you work under such an environment that is how the institution is working like that. So reduce the number of hindrances that can be on your way for you getting that opportunity. And just double check, confirm that your digits are okay. If you forget one number, that phone number is not correct anymore. As much as we will expect that they should reach us through our email address, if they can't find us on phone number, some HR departments may not be thinking on that way. So ensure that you do not give room for anybody to leave you out on an opportunity. Summary of your professional undertakings and your vision for the career, it must be there and it must be very clear. We cannot go into details now too much, unfortunately, because of time. And these are some of the aspects that should we manage to have a quorum that would be interested more in this, there are things that we could flesh out with typical examples on improving your particular CV writing. Work experience. And work experience must be relevant. You're applying for a job. For example, if someone is to be once a good gardener, don't spend too much time describing how you're a good singer. Try to be relevant to that job that person is offering you. Resonate with that person. Of course, provide some educational background that's to show this way I attained my my qualifications at a university level, and whatever other additional certification I've had, and provide only what is relevant. At some point, you don't have to go down to high school and primary school. It is redundant at that level. Then what are some of the other skills that you can bring on board? Relevant skills. Don't think that the more you list, the more attractive you become. No, become very purposeful and intentional to be very relevant. So in other words, you must create a CV with these key crucial sections, not to miss, but adapting it to be what I call fit for purpose. So on the next slide there, I want to highlight and to beseech you and to convince you that, as I said in the beginning on this of the CV writing, it is showing the world, the job market, who you are and what you can be able to do if you are given that opportunity. And there are many people who are also applying and eyeing those positions. But just to give you an example, I was involved in a shortlisting for some positions whereby only 3 candidates were required. The applications were 100 and I believe 96. If you do your mathematics there, you'll get that to get 3 people from 196 applicants, that translates to a success rate of 1.5%. And imagine now if you're involved in screening the CVs, and this is what I had to do, and you have less than 1 week to do that, to shortlist and to invite people for an interview. Can you imagine how your CV must really stand out to capture the attention of the person CV? There is a way your CV can just appear and you cannot even pass the first sifting just by casual look, even though the contents inside there somehow might be relevant and you might be a good candidate. But the way you have put it, it is not standing out. So what are some of the things that you need to look at? Let your CV be precise, clear, precise, straight to the point. Make the work of the recruiter easy. As I have said, adapt it to be fit for purpose. What are they looking for? A gardener. Try to look at things that you have done that support your potential to be a good gardener. Skills you have acquired to make you a successful gardener. The value you'll bring it in the gardening, in the farm industry. Even if you're a good runner, you're a good singer, you're a good something else, let that not deviate and take your attention and focus on telling them how good you are in something that is not relevant and applicable for them. When you're telling them that you can work so hard, you are so diligent, you're so persistent, pick an example to show them. In my gardening experience at this and this place, I increased the production of the farm of 1 acre from this number of bags to this number of bags, and I reduced the occurrence of diseases and pests by this percentage. Take that, apply to your particular field. I know I have colleagues and friends here whom I invited from different fields, and this is very much applicable to them. When the employer sent out the call, they said qualifications, jobs, responsibilities are this, 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 and that. Do we take time to look at what they're asking for? Do we try to use what they're asking for to adapt our CV to be able to be a melody that when they are reading it is resonating with what they're looking for? Or do we just dump a just flat generic CV? Remember, if you're going to be 3 out of 196, you must make effort to be able to adapt, refine your CV to be fit for purpose. Finally, you must pay attention to details. A little mistake can just throw you off. You are at the mercy of the person who is shortlisting. Like in my case, if I will see typo errors, misname, naming names that are just jumbled up, poor organization, you easily go out, because if the two of you are at par, somebody starts looking at what will make me put this one aside and take this one. You will be judged harshly. Remember that. The world is in fierce competition, and for any mistake you make, you will be judged harshly. So don't leave any room for obvious mistakes. So the opposite of this are common mistakes. And if you do one more click, you will see one of the common mistakes is now with the flooding of digital information, there's a lot of blah, 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 blah. Somebody just Googles, what should I include in a good CV? Then, with the tools we have, including ChatGPT, it can tell you what to write. But an intelligent recruiter, when they're reading, they can be able to dissect and know what is personalized and real and what is blah, blah, blah generated by an artificial intelligent machine learning model. You can get good insights on how to write and adopt your CV, but just blindly copying and writing that, there is a test that an experienced recruiter, an experienced person in the field will know this is just blah, 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 blah. Let whatever you write as your competence, experiences, capabilities be a true reflection. I've seen some cases whereby someone graduated maybe 5 years ago, and yet they're saying, I have 10 years experience in this particular field. Yet that experience needs you to have already gotten the qualification. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So you rather look for a way how you're going to improve and raise your potential and your qualification. So what we are saying, finally, as I conclude about the CV section, is that when you're looking at a CV, if we go to the next slide, the question you're asking yourself, how do I want the job market to view me? And remember, now we are applying and using digital platforms. Whatever goes in there, you may not be able to grab it easily. Someone else will meet it, will meet it. Now we have even repositories for placing CVs whereby different recruiters can be able to access and evaluate and be able to call you for an interview. Let whatever goes there have your proof, your stamp of approval. You are confident about it. So what should you do? Before something goes out there, look for a senior colleague who has been in the field. Tell them, I'm applying for this job. Please have a look at this CV of mine. Does it look okay? What can I improve? What can I correct? Yeah. Proofread. Get intelligence about what that employer is interested in. Read their website and write an informed CV. Don't make a mistake of sending one CV to 3 different places, and those different places are looking for different things. They are in different specialization. Don't make that mistake. You must take charge. That's the part about the CV. The next half now, I will have given you a time to ask some questions about CV, but I'm afraid we might overrun time. So allow me to move on to the second part for another maybe 10 or so minutes, or 15 on scientific writing, which I will also call professional writing or academic writing or formal writing. And then feel free to consolidate your questions. Feel free to use the Q&A as asked by the moderator, then to be easier for them to be able to maybe pick representative questions in the interest of time. Over the years that I've had a chance to interact now with my students, of course, and then in the research field, I have found that it is good for you to have your degree, to have your qualification, but that is not good enough. If you are to compare two people, one with a good, excellent degree and nothing more, and someone with an average academic qualification, but has some competence in good communication skills, writing, presentation, networking, this other scenario, there are more chances and prospects of career growth and achievements and advancement than the first example. And seeing that many of us here are young researchers, early career, young students, young professionals, early career researchers, please, in addition to having your degree, if you can, if you have an opportunity, and you find that this is relevant for your future career growth, take time to invest in improving your ability to communicate. We are never born knowing these things, but we can learn them. Have something extra. And if you are to have a casual look at skills that employers look for, besides having the right qualification, academic training, you'll find communication skills featuring high on the list. Besides the other common ones that you will know about: teamwork, collaboration, leadership, taking initiative, and being able to demonstrate critical thinking and problem solving, which are some of the things that professional writing, academic writing enables you to be able to acquire. What are some of the examples of this professional writing that we are talking about? I've listed some of them in the next slide, and I'll be speaking to them briefly, each of them, and this could be perhaps my main slide. When you are transitioning from school, college, going to the work environment, some opportunities need you to demonstrate why you think you're a good fit for them. And in speaking to us this evening, I'm looking at you as potential employees beyond your national borders. Some organizations sift employees based on what these applicants are demonstrating as their added value to their organization. You might require to write a letter of motivation, why you think you're a good candidate for that. If not for a job, it could be for an admission, a university admission. And it has broke my heart to see excellent students worthy of an admission to a good course, good university, perhaps a good scholarship, but the weak strength of their letter of motivation, poorly articulated, just renders them uncompetitive against other well-prepared candidates. It's good for you if you are planning to go the route of seeking perhaps higher education, applying for opportunity scholarships. You need to learn and invest in how to write a good letter of motivation, otherwise called statement of purpose in some cases. Cover letter frequently accompanies a CV. You must be able to articulate and summarize in no more than a page. Who are you? And what are you? And why you? And what will you bring to the organization? In that one page, that must reflect and must come out convincingly. And remember, it is not the wordiness, but it is the quality of what you're going to write in that one page. And it takes time to learn. Just like anything else, you have to invest in it. Letter of recommendation is something else that also many of us may not know. You need to seek opportunities, and then you find yourself reaching out to a supervisor or a senior colleague, asking them, I would like to a recommendation letter for this job or for this opportunity for studies. Then they just write, oh, I confirm that I know Felix Animba. He was a student at this institution, and I taught him, and he was well cooperative, and he can make a good employer. You have said a lot of nothing. You need to be able to reach out and be able to describe this person in view of what they are looking for that particular organization. So when you are getting to that, make sure you choose your referees appropriately, or help your referees to capture things that your employing organization is looking for in a reference, or university, or wherever you're applying for. In school, of course, many of us are versed with the research proposals, research projects, as other examples of scientific writing. We have no time to be able to go into that in details. Abstracts to share your work in conferences and all that, or applying for admission for universities. You want to advance yourself, you want to go for a fellowship, you want to apply for a grant and funding. Many of you, after some time, you'll get into positions of authority and you'll be able to engage yourself in this. You want to be aware of how to write a convincing application. And of course, with good research, you can be able to write a manuscript. So this I'm just mentioning to highlight you some of the scientific writing that are there, and why I believe if you are thinking of going that route, you need to be able to invest in that. So if you invest in good scientific writing, what can you benefit from? It can mean a difference in you getting your first job. That's very important. Or getting a promotion, or changing from one job to another, new opportunities, creating new networks. You write something and it resonates with what a potential collaborator wants. You contribute to new knowledge if it's a piece of research, and you disseminate and share that with others, which to me, I think it's something that is very, very important. So you might be wondering now, where should I start from? In the next slide, I say gauge and evaluate where you are. What do I have? What is my weakness? What is my capabilities? And where do I begin from? So that slide is just showing some of the colleagues, friends, mentees that I've had the privilege of being able to work with, and I'm very proud of them. The first one managed to get a funding by the European and developing countries clinical trial partnership on a PhD studentship at Stellenbosch University, South Africa. The next one got admission for a PhD at the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens. Another one managed to get African Research Excellence Fund, like the one that I got a chance to win previously. Another one is a student who got admission at University of Nottingham. Another one got managed to win a Commonwealth scholarship like I did previously, and admission to the University of Strathclyde. And then one of the mentees also, if you click 2 times, managed to get a postgraduate admission for diploma at Cambridge Wellcome Trust under the initiative to develop African research leaders, and many other students that I am so grateful that I've had the favor to be able to tutor, to mentor, and to be able to publish some of their work. To me, that gives me great joy that I can have a student that we can work with them and they can be able to publish something. I feel happy about that, and some of them, I believe, could be in the audience. So finally, just to say that time fails us, we can't speak about everything in this session, but definitely, yes, there's so many things that you can be able to check and improve yourself online, including what the YPD here has shown you about. And just to conclude and give you time maybe to be able to ask some questions, is to say that if you need any further information, the YPD will give information on what you might feel to be things that you want to consider in improving yourself in terms of career opportunities, and also if opportunities for review. At times when I have time, I do consult on reviewing academic or professional writing through Pristine Academic Consultancy. So thanks for your attention, and I just hope that I've been able to spike and to pinch you a bit to be able to know that you are in the right stage in life to be able to leap into a successful career. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hand over back to the moderators.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Mayoka, for the very enlightening presentation. Indeed, many people will meet your written work before they meet you in person. So as we continue to digest and ruminate what he has shared, I would invite Sandra to lead us in the next session. But then I would also encourage us to kindly submit our questions to the Q&A panel. Or if you're not able to access the Q&A panel, feel free to submit it in the chat box. Thank you. Sandra?
Yes, thank you. I hope by now you can hear Sandra, you just think activity is coming. So I have an activity for you again, but before that, I have some 2 questions that I have here that I will ask now before we do the activity. But before I give those questions over to Dr. Mayoka to answer, I have a question for you. I have a question for you, participants. Can you imagine that what we have just had is a tip of the iceberg? Can you then imagine what the rest of the masterclass will entail? If this is just a tip of the iceberg, personally, I can't imagine what awaits in the masterclass. I am personally very excited. That's a rhetoric question. So I'll go to the first question that I got, which is, Dr. Mayoka, someone feels that the conference presentation masterclass is too short. someone feels that the 2 hours is not enough to cover everything about conference presentation. So abstracts, preparing slides, communication while you're making the presentation. So they're wondering, why is it only 2 hours? Maybe they expect it to be double the time. And allow me to answer to ask both questions right now, and then you can answer both of them. So the second question is, what's the difference between a cover letter and a motivation letter? What's the difference between a cover letter and a motivation letter? So Dr. Mayoka, please answer those two.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll do them quickly just to give time for any other additional questions. So one, you are very right. The time is very short, and to present everything comprehensively about presentation and CV and slides, it is a whole range of things and competencies to be gained. And I think this might have been informed by the organizers, YPD, which I think you can have a look at to see how best you can be able to refine. Like, I take time with my students to be able to develop something until it refines to the end. So it will be like highlights and tips on how to go about it. And I think with opportunity for follow-on consultation or advice and feedback on specific presentation. So I totally agree with that feedback. Cover letter versus, was it letter of motivation? Cover letter is briefly a letter that many times accompanies a CV when you're applying for a job. And in this cover letter, you are saying to the maybe hiring manager, job application number, blah, blah, blah. I, so and so, am applying to respond to the job that you applied for the position of so, and so. I am this, and this, with competence in this, and that. I will bring value in this, and that. And I look forward, if given this opportunity, to join in your team, in your company. And please find further details in my curriculum vitae. So the cover letter is attached to a particular job opportunity, that your CV does not just go alone. Some jobs ask you to submit cover letter and CV. Some might just say, just bring your CV. For the letter of motivation, usually is a demonstration, something you write to demonstrate why you are the suitable candidate for something. I have seen this especially for, like in my case, it was for the Commonwealth Scholarship application, and there are so many other bodies that would perhaps want you to write letter of motivation, or otherwise called statement of purpose. Why should you be admitted for that master's PhD program? Why are you the right candidate? And they'll give you some guidance, roughly maybe 500 to 1,000 words.
Okay, thank you very much for those answers. Let me just mention, this is why it's important for us to ask these questions, because you see, that one question is able to enable us to make changes that are needed, especially by the participants of the master classes. So keep those questions coming. We really like to hear them. So I have one more. How does one get scholarships, for instance, in pharmacy school? Considering the pass mark is 50, how does one merit for a scholarship? And personally, when I was in school, we used to hear this a lot. Bora umepata 50, bora umefikisha 50, you know? So maybe sometimes slightly above 50 is all we got. So with this in mind, how do we merit for scholarships?
Thanks, Sandra, and thanks for the participant who asked that question. It's a very good question. And I used, and I still discourage that kind of mentality of as long as I get 50. If 50 is your best, then that is fine. We are all gifted differently. Not all of us can get distinctions, but we must put in our very best. And then remember what I said. The grades serve one purpose, but then there are other capabilities that come around that can help to beef you up as a possible candidate for opportunities. Things that you do around to strengthen your knowledge in that particular field. Like, for example, if you have had some attachment experience in a field, gain some experience in a particular research field or particular area of interest, and through that maybe you do a project or maybe you publish a paper. When now you are applying, and then you can say that now you have in fact a paper in this and that, or you have been involved in this project, this and that, that can help to cover up for what was not an excellent grade, perhaps in your undergraduate for the scholarship. And also remember that the scholarships are diverse. There are those that want academic excellence when you are at undergraduate, and though you may not qualify for that, there are others that look at a wider scope of parameters that you might be then more readily competitive for. Or you might be able to get maybe to a scholarship for a master's or a program for a master's that's not necessarily of that nature of academic excellence only, but then once you boost and you pick up at master's level, you open doors then for other scholarships that might come because of now your knowledge and experience in the particular field.
Thank you very much. I believe that has been fully answered. So here's another question. Thank you for the great presentation. Thank you for telling us. Thank you for telling us that. What's your secret or advice to overcome procrastination when writing grant proposals or manuscripts? What's the secret, Dr. Mayoka?
Very good question. Very good question. The secret to overcome procrastination is, and I try to do this as well, is know that procrastination is a what? Who can complete that proverb? Procrastination is what? Is a thief of time. The thing is, first, identify what is making you to procrastinate. Is it the fear that you do not have the competence? Is it that you have so many things you are doing that you have not allotted specific time? What is it that is making you to procrastinate? If it is the fear, look for someone who can hold your hand and guide you through. Number two, if it is because of many other commitments making you not to allot time, be purposeful and invest time, because indeed applying and getting for fellowships, scholarships, good admissions takes time. If you are interested in your career, in your progression, and in your advancement, you must be willing and ready to be able to put in the time.
Thank you very much. And that there is the secret. That's the secret. Okay, right now, I would like for us to answer some questions. So I'm going to project my screen again. Please go to Menti or mentimeter.com and then put in the code 28273320 and answer the question that will appear on the screen. The code is in the chat box.
Sandra?
Yes.
As guys are putting in the code, there's just one more question that has come in the Q&A panel.
All right, all right.
Yeah, and the person is asking, this is a question to Dr. Mayoka. Are you taking mentees? And for one to be your mentee, what does one need?
Good question. I didn't see that coming, but I'm not surprised that it has come. I have mentees, and I think let the interested person reach out to me. I've been having this idea, but I have not yet consolidated it nicely. But what I was thinking was maybe in due course, maybe it could come from this, that every year maybe I should take a number of mentees, maybe 10 or 5. And then at the beginning of the year, we agree on what we are doing, and we have monthly catch-up meetings, and we work towards something for the year, so that it becomes like a mentees club or something. But I'm still working around it because I take seriously the issue of time management and commitment. So I was thinking of actually making my mentees to feel the pinch of committing to mentorship by committing to it on a severe way. which I was still thinking on how to go about it. So I'll get to see how many are interested first, and then I'll be able to spell out to them how that could be. But currently, I have quite a few mentees that so far I'm happy they are doing well, and now they are helping to mentor the younger, the new cohort of mentees. I think now I have the third or fourth cohort of mentees that is running, and we've been able to do some publications together. And yeah, I'll be happy to consider some. I hope I don't promise and then I get overwhelmed. Thanks for the question. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you very much. I think I'd also like to thank that person for being bold to ask that question. So before I go to my activity, I see one more question that has come in. It is, why do recruiters ask about marital status?
An interesting question. Some do, some don't. And in fact, in some cultures, some organizations, they don't find it necessary for you to write marital status. So it differs. But for those who may ask, I'll want to think one possibility is it is deemed that when someone is married, they have gone through cases or situations that have needed taking responsibility or a demonstration of commitment. And I think to them that might signify an additional maybe an additional profile that they might look at. On the other end, when someone is not married, might be an appealing maybe profile for a job that may need someone to be easily mobile or to relocate, for example. I'm just trying to think out um, uh, instantly that maybe now if they give you a job, will it be easy for you to move or to be traveling frequently, or could family commitments be a consideration or a challenge for you? I'm thinking those could be some of the reasons.
Thank you very much for that answer. So my question is ongoing in the Mentimeter. Just go to menti.com and use the code 28273320 to join, and then answer this simple question. Which masterclass are you most inspired to join after today's session? So we have research and scientific writing courses. We have conference presentation, so that tackles abstracts, slides, and preparation. There's also resume writing and cover letter masterclass. And last but not least, letter of motivation or statement of purpose masterclass. So just indicate there which one are you most inspired to join at this moment. Meanwhile, okay, I'll repeat the code. It's 28273320. I can write that again. 28273320. There we go. Dr. Favor has written in the chat box that we'll be having a call for mentees in the next couple of days. Please be on the lookout. So please be on the lookout. If you're not already following our social media pages, now would be a good time to follow so that you stay updated and don't miss all these nice things that we have in store for you. Okay. Maybe 1.5 more minutes before I go to the next question, because I have just 2 more questions, which are a bit easy, really easy. So right now, research and scientific writing courses is on the lead, followed by conference presentation. Okay, half a minute more, and I go to the next question. 10 seconds more. Okay, thank you. So my next two questions are, please someone let me know if the question has changed on your end, because the question I'm asking now is, which field are you in? So just some statistics here. Okay, I'm just about to go to the next question, which is the final one. So 30 more seconds for whoever is still responding. Okay, and our last question for today is, what is your level of study or work? Like, how long have you been in the workforce? Okay, a few more seconds, and then I have one more question, and I think we can be done for today. And then we meet next time in the master class. Okay, thank you very much for participating in my activities today. So I have one more question, Dr. Mayoka. Given the nature of the practice of pharmacy in Kenya, how can students better explore outlier professions and think out of the box, and better yet access these opportunities? I'll read it again. Given the nature of the
question, I got the question, and it's something that I have been very interested in. I think you should ask YPD to organize another seminar and invite the students, and I'm very happy to speak to it. It's something that I've been very passionate to motivate students and young graduating pharmacists and those in biomedical sciences to think outside the box. There are so many opportunities outside there, and one of the topics I've been having in my mind has been opportunities for pharmacists beyond the normal three. So the normal three here, I'm referring to community pharmacy, hospital or clinical pharmacy, and regulatory affairs. There are numerous opportunities. And the way to be able to venture out for them in a nutshell is, one, to be aware that those opportunities are there. How do you get to know? Is when you can get someone who has been there to be able to tell you that, look, these are the opportunities and this is what you can do to get there. And there are many ways of doing that, and I'm happy to offer a webinar on that if an opportunity comes. So
Okay.
YPD says
Thank
you're
you.
taking notes. Good.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, YPD. We are taking notes. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. We would really like to address concerns that students or young pharmacists are having. So we're really glad to get this feedback. So thank you. I don't see any more questions. And therefore, I would like to stop here and give this back over to Dr. Favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sandra, for the amazing facilitation. We've come to the tail end of our webinar, and I'd like to extend my sincerest appreciation to Dr. Godfrey Mayoka for putting in the work and preparing to deliver such an amazing presentation. Thank you to the wonderful audience that has stayed with us till the very tail end. This is just the beginning of great things, but we are so grateful to have you on call. Unfortunately, this webinar was not CPD accredited, but what you can assure you is that the master classes will be CPD accredited, so you will not have an excuse for missing out on the same. So at this point, I'd like to call it a night. Thank you so much. In case you have any other questions, please feel free to forward them to our email, which I've just posted in the chat, in the conversation. Send us an email, contact us through our numbers. I'm sure most of you have numbers for people in the YPD team. Please contact us. It was a pleasure having you this evening, and enjoy your night. Thank you very much. You can leave the call at your pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, YPD. I appreciate all of you. Have a lovely night.